Maybe if I explain this to you, it'll make sense, because as I say it out loud, it never makes sense to me. You got this guy who goes by the name Nickmercs. For those of you who don't know who it is, it's a streamer. He streams video games on YouTube, Kick, Rumble, all these different platforms. He mainly streams things like Call of Duty. He replies to a video, which we're going to get to in a second, and he says, leave the kids alone, or leave the kids out of it. And for some reason, there's all these different reactions. There's the people supporting him, and there's the people calling him a homophobic bigot who deserves to have his platforms taken from him. Call of Duty sees this tweet and sees all the reactions, and they remove his skin from the item shop. He makes a video replying to all the backlash, saying he really wasn't trying to be bigoted or hateful towards anybody, but he's not apologizing for the tweet because he's somebody who's a new father and he wants to have specific values taught to his child, and he thinks an agenda is being pushed and all these different things.
Simply feel that I want to be the one and my wife wants to be the one to speak with our child about stuff like that. And that was the tweet. That was the tweet. You can take the tweet if you want, and you can spin it, flip it, flop it, quote tweet it. You can put 10 paragraphs on top of it. You can do whatever you want to it to make you feel better if that's what you want to do. But that was the tweet. Okay? So if you came here to hear that, I hope you feel a little better about it. I didn't mean to upset anybody. I know that I did. I'm not apologizing about the tweet because I don't feel like it's wrong. I'm going to stand by what I said. I'm not going to delete the tweet. You know, I just want to make sure everybody understands exactly the point I was trying to make by tweeting my response. You know, and I do want to apologize to Puckett though. I feel like I might have brought a little bit of shit his way, man. I didn't mean to do that, but right. And that's I just don't think it's any place for a teacher or a school. I don't think it's the place to speak about things like that. And it's not that I think that it shouldn't be spoken about. If that's what you got from that tweet, then you're just wrong. You're just wrong. I don't have any quarrel with anybody in here. I don't have any quarrel with people on the internet. It wasn't an anti, I guess, gay tweet. That wasn't what it was. Now listen, if you have issues with me or if you have issues with that tweet, then hey, listen, I'm down to agree to disagree. That's fine. We can agree to disagree. But if you think that I hate you because you're a certain way, you just couldn't be any more wrong. That's not the truth.
And you have these people going tit for tat, boycotting Call of Duty, uninstalling the newest Call of Duty, demanding that their friends' skins be taken out of the game in support of Nickmercs. And the whole time this is going on, I'm trying to figure out how this got started. And you can't respond to me saying that by saying it started because of this tweet, because he's either fighting back against the woke mafia or he's some homophobic bigot who wants to see gay people eradicated. I wanted to know what he was replying to, and he was replying to a video that was posted, which was anti-LGBT versus pro-LGBT, and it's a video of a bunch of parents just getting into an all-out WWE brawl. And I was trying to figure out the whole time, what is the point of this brawl? How did this get started? What was the reason for any of this? And the reason apparently is because while these people are fighting in the middle of the street, inside of any of these buildings that were close by is a school board meeting, and they're voting on whether or not the schools are going to acknowledge June as Pride Month or not.
Chaos breaks out over LGBTQ instruction in schools.
It happened during a meeting of the Glendale School Board. KTLA5's Annie Rose Ramos live from Glendale with those details. Annie Rose, good morning.
Hey, Chris. Hi, Megan. Good morning to you both. Well, let me set the scene for you here yesterday. Happening last night inside the building you see behind me was a meeting among the school board where they were planning on taking a vote about declaring June official Pride Month for their unified school district. Happening outside the building right here in the parking lot that I'm standing was a growing protest made up of those for and against that vote. And at one point, it all turned violent. In this video, you can see just how violent and chaotic that crowd got. At around 6 p.m. last night, at the height of those clashes, the Glendale police in riot gear threatening to use chemical agents to disperse the crowd, declaring it an unlawful assembly and arresting at least 3 people. At one point, this crowd swelled to reports of about 500 people here in the parking lot of the Glendale Unified School District headquarters. Glendale's police chief confirming to KTLA there was Antifa and Revolutionary Communist members in the crowd yesterday, quote, serving as agitators. Additionally present were pro and anti-LGBTQ plus demonstrators facing off. We understand they've been protesting the board meetings here for the past several weeks now over the district's handling of LGBTQ policies.
They're experimenting on children. Young children are very vulnerable. First of all, at that age they're targeting them. Children don't have any idea about sex and sexuality.
Point is the erasure of LGBTQ voices. Erasure of voices of LGBTQ people leads to the misconception that all of our lived experiences are homogenous and the same, and it does not allow any space for folks to embrace who they are.
All right, inside last night's board meeting, the public comment portion regarding Pride Month was cut short because of the fighting happening outside. But most who spoke were in favor of the LGBTQ plus acceptance. The Glendale School District releasing a statement yesterday saying harmful disinformation has been circulating about what is being taught inside the classrooms. The superintendent speaking more about it. Take a listen.
Our primary focus in our school district is to be inclusive. Every student matters, every family member matters. We do follow in a public system state laws and California Department of Education guidelines. And sometimes that may be of concern to some parents. But at the end of the day, my message is let's reach out to one another.
All right, that vote that sparked this entire protest eventually happened inside the building you see behind me last night, and it passed. All of the board members voting unanimously to declare June Pride Month here for the Glendale School Unified District, as they have for the past 4 years.
So now that we have the missing layer of context out the way, let me just say that tweeting leave the kids out of it or leave the kids alone is not really anything I'm going to look at and say is bigoted or homophobic, especially when I have a layer of understanding of someone who's a new father, who's probably been on Twitter a little bit too much, seeing all these different weird things in regards to LGBTQ and saying, I don't really want my kid around any of that. And I don't think that's going to be something I want my kid to be around. And the caveat to that is, whether you like it or not, your child is going to learn all these different things, whether in school or outside the schools. My opinion, as someone who doesn't have a child, because I like my semen where I can see it, is teach your kid that when they grow up, when they walk this earth, they're going to interact with people of different backgrounds and different beliefs, who grew up in different scenarios, who think things are okay, which you may not think are okay. And the best way to go about it is understanding, listening, and realizing that people grew up different. People believe in different things. People worship different things. Demonizing them is not really going to be anything productive, but at least having an open mind to hearing what they got to say, perfectly acceptable. Yes, we can draw the line at all the overtly sexual nonsense. Obviously, nobody's going to really argue in support of that unless you're somebody who's a map trying to normalize that for the LGBTQ community. Side note, should not be something in the LGBTQ community. And it's weird how that gets misconstrued as we're layering everybody as homophobic bigots because they dare say that tweeting leave kids alone means that gay people are hunting down your kids. When in reality, you have a lot of gay people who don't care about your kids at all, who just want to exist as being someone who is a male who just so happens to like some dick. And that's perfectly fine. I don't really have a problem with people learning that gay people exist, learning that trans people exist, learning that bisexuals exist. If something gets overtly sexual, then we're going to have to pump the brakes, because obviously, especially in a school setting, you don't want that being overtly sexual to your kids. And yes, there are examples of things being overtly sexual in a space for children.
6 books at the center of the conflict, 4 with LGBTQ themes. A group of parents wanting them removed from school library shelves feel they are sexually explicit, too violent, and not age appropriate.
Well, how do these books even end up in our library? That's the biggest thing. I mean, these books are really bad. When I'm looking at it, I cringe. They don't belong in the hands of 13, 14, 15-year-old kids.
Stop pretending this is about protecting children from books. We all know this is about erasing our LGBTQ students and staff. It was literally written on signs people brought to the meeting on Monday.
Because of the outcry, no students can check out the books under question while the board reevaluates their process on reviewing books.
I am sick of the only books that my son can read are about slavery and lynching, things that I find disgusting. Those are things that I hate.
Right now, Dearborn Public Schools policy states a parent has the right to restrict their child's access to certain books, but they have to ask.
What happens when the parents who don't read or speak English, why is it on them to try to opt out? They don't know what's going on.
Parents who insist the books be permanently banned, presenting a resolution to the board, demanding an open door policy and a more transparent and interactive book analysis process before students can check them out.
I believe there should be a process to review these books before they even get in our schools, not a review process once they're in our schools.
Her trusted art and homeroom teacher invited her to stay after school for art club. So she texted us and we gave our permission. Of course you can stay for art club. When she arrived in the classroom that day, she very quickly learned that it was actually GSA art club, or gender and sexuality awareness. And her trusted teacher had invited in an outside presenter to speak with the children. This presenter started with her number 1 rule: what you hear in here stays in here. She then brought out flags to describe different umbrella terms or defining words, as she called them, and how people feel under each of the flags. She explained to my daughter that if she is not 100% comfortable in her female body, then she's transgender. She then gave out flags, stickers, bracelets, and what she called the obligatory toys that kids love to collect everywhere I go. She then told the kids that parents aren't safe, and that it's okay to lie to them about where they are in order to attend this meeting and also future programming that she holds throughout the community, both online and in person. Some of the programming is actually includes adults. So she's got 12-year-olds in these meetings secretly with adults. She told the kids that she brought out the genderbread activity. I don't know if you've ever seen that before, but
I have.
The genderbread person activity, which explains that gender and sexuality are on a spectrum and that neither can ever be binary. It explicitly asked the kids who they're sexually attracted to. There was 11, 12, and 13-year-olds in the room when this happened. She doubled down that parents aren't safe, that heterosexuality and monogamy are not normal. And she then proceeded to hand out her personal contact information to the kids, encouraging them to connect with her without their parents' knowledge, by cell phone, by email, and by teen chat platforms like WhatsApp and Discord, where parents can't see the communication. She also sends them invites to her secret meetings.
Look, another obscene book being distributed to children. Up your bum, you have a prostate gland, which feels nice when massaged. The is also sensitive and responds to being played with. So after she's giving a tutorial on sexual pleasure, she also instructs kids to be creative when they explore. Now the author is encouraging kids to get online, where they're at most risk for sexual exploitation. Intentionally using these quotes is to encourage kids to go online and meet other adults for sex. I've used Grindr. The advantages are that you can get what you want quickly. The downside is that it's the same people repeatedly, so it can get boring very quickly. The benefits are obvious: quick, easy, and uncomplicated. It goes on to say, I've met a lot of interesting people through sex, encouraging kids to have transactional, high-risk with adults on an adult website. This isn't just grooming anymore. This is encouraging kids to become active with adults. This is sexual enticement of minors. This is promoting. Now the author is giving a blowjob tutorial to the younger audience this book was intended for, saying that it's more about sliding your mouth up and down the shaft of his. Want to know a secret? Straight people have all the time too. Straight men like stuff up their bums just as much as gay ones. Isn't a gay thing. Women can pleasure each other in a variety of fun ways. The really does like being licked and kissed. Let's end this with toys and strap-ons. These people are a danger to children.
And you might be somebody who's watching this video calling me homophobic and saying I hate gay people and trans people and lesbians and bis, and you may think Nickmercs and anyone who supports him is nothing but a bunch of homophobic bigots, but you cannot ignore the concerns that some parents have when they see certain things in areas for children. You can't really get mad when they have genuine concerns that they want to bring up. Should they be fighting people in the middle of the street? No, because that doesn't get the point across. Should they be going into a Lego store and they see one person with a pin of a pride flag and losing their mind shouting about dick and pussy? No, because that doesn't make you look good. If you see these things and you have a genuine concern, address them, bring them up, criticize someone who is of authority, allowing these things to be in the schools within reason. Because I don't personally think telling a kid, hey, this is the definition of a gay person is something that's going to be overtly sexual. These books that have all these images in them that children are not ready for is absolutely out the window, at least to me. But giving a basic definition of a gay person, a bisexual, a lesbian, a transgender, going through the history of fighting for gay rights, I don't really see how anywhere in that is something that's going to be harmful to children. You're teaching them the history that has gone out throughout American society and even across the world in some areas where that is something allowed, because we all know in some countries, if you gay, you in a shit. At the end of the day, Nickmercs is not homophobic. He's not a bigot. His tweet wasn't homophobic, nor was it labeled in bigotry. And if you're someone who drastically thinks that and you're 100% in that belief, there's nothing I could really do for you, because you're steadfast in that belief and you will always think someone who has a genuine criticism or concern for something that they see as a problem will always in your eyes be a homophobe or a bigot. And I would just like to say that's a sad life to live, because you are also someone, whether if you're a teenager or a grown adult for some reason, who doesn't understand everybody on this planet walks a different set of circumstances. Everybody don't agree. Everybody don't have the same beliefs. You and your 10 friends may agree, but those 10 people on the other side of the street, they may agree with you also. They may completely disagree. They may agree on some things and disagree on others. You'll never know unless we all come together, we talk, we rationalize, we understand. Not to overtly convince anyone that one's beliefs are better than the others, but to understand we're all not the same person and we're all going to be different at the end of the day. And with that all being said, subscribe to the channel. I got nothing else to say. I would love to know if you think anything I've said in this video or shown you is something that I shouldn't be talking about, because how dare I? Or if you view me as a homophobic bigot. I'd love to know what you think in the comment section down below. I will see y'all in the next one. Goodbye.